Tsukasa Empire versus the Kingdom of Science. Let's fucking go. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with the finale, episodes 23 and 24 of Dr. Stone Season 1. Yeah, we are finishing this up, and it's kind of crazy to think that we blasted through this entire season. No breaks, no nothing. And like I said last time, the one of the reasons why we got through these last episodes with like 2 episodes each for each video was because I was starting to feel like that the effects of like there's a little bit of worry that I'm going to get burnt out soon on this. And so I decided, instead of just taking a break here, like with this few episodes left, we're just going to blast through them. Get through them really quickly before that burnout can really set in. And then we will obviously take a break before getting to season 2 sometime in the future. So yeah, this is one of the few shows we are doing today because if you've paid attention to the channel, we are going on break starting tomorrow. For anyone who just hasn't heard, yeah, we're going on a spring break from tomorrow to Sunday. The entire rest of this week, I am not uploading anything. I'm not even recording anything. I'm taking a break to refresh myself, get myself back into the mindset, and just make it so that I'm able to come back into things full force, get going, blasting out reactions every day. So yeah, just taking a little break. Sometimes it's necessary. A lot of these channels don't really do breaks that often, and it's like, how can you do that? How can you not do that? It's like, how can you just push yourself through all of this time, all of these months and months and months at a time without taking a break? And I understand that sometimes they do take breaks. They are just so ahead in recordings that they don't, miss putting up anything. Of course, a lot of these channels also have editors and everything. I'm doing this on my own. This is just me. I'm the only person editing. I'm the only person uploading and stuff. So you have to take that into account too. And I put up something every day of the week. Every weekday there are different show reactions and stuff, but there's movies put up on the weekend too that I have to record during the week. So it's like I'm constantly working on this channel. So yeah, every now and again I just need a little break. But before we go on that break starting tomorrow, I decided we're going to have one last hurrah, one last day to just get out a few shows that I just don't want to wait for. One Piece was a big one, obviously. Whack Fu, really didn't want to wait on that. I've done my waiting, 6.5 years of it. Don't want to wait anymore. And of course, this is one of them because I've been blasting out to get this finished, so I can avoid burnout anyway. So why not finish it out as, again, part of this last hurrah before the break? So as a reminder, the break ends and we will be back to things at this point next week, next Monday. So yeah, it's just the entire rest of this week there will be nothing. Not even movies on the weekend. Nothing. So yeah, just a little bit of a break, and we'll be back to things next week. So that being said, we are about to go into the finale of this season. We're going to have the Kingdom of Science taking on the Tsukasa Empire. Everything is being set, but there's still a little bit of a ways to go before that. Senku has to finalize making these phones to even have a chance at this. And time is getting tight. We only have these 2 episodes, so I'm interested to see how this is going to get done in this short of time. Maybe there's not going to be much of a fight. Maybe that's the point. It's not going to take that long because it's going to be resolved quickly. That would be preferable, honestly. Maybe Senku and Tsukasa will just get into a screaming match about their ideals. That'd be kind of funny. Last time, though, we had Christmas, we had Senku's birthday, we had a field trip with friends. It was just a good old friendly time. We made some improvements, we found some things out. Everything was working out really well. And now I finally get to see how this all closes out for the season. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into it. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, as Season 1 ends, the Stone Wars begin. And I really should have seen it coming that the actual, battle against the Tsukasa Empire, or I guess maybe battles, wasn't going to be by the end of this season, because I did know the second season is called Stone Wars. And I believe I believe season 3 is New World. I don't know after that. Though I think that's all that's out right now, right? Season 4 is the next one coming. So actually, I think that's it for now. But if they've said what season 4 is going to be called, I don't know what it is. But yeah. So I don't think all of next season is going to be the war against Tsukasa. I think that's just going to be the first arc. I think there's going to be more to the season than that. But also, with the fact that there were only 2 episodes left, I honestly didn't believe there really could be a way to have this battle in the end, unless it was just really short and not underwhelming, but just, simple in its execution. Like, there wouldn't be much to it. But that's not even the case anyway, because that the actual battle is being saved for next time, which is a little surprising, because I feel like most shows wouldn't do that. I feel like most shows would try to make sure it happened by the end of the season. Instead, this season ends on an episode that isn't altogether anything special. Specifically with this show, because it's like we've had episodes like this already. It's not like a special episode comparative to other ones we've had. But it's emotionally resonant and gives the entire village the motivation, the drive, the determination to go forward with this more than ever before. And although Senku is trying to act cool and saying that he didn't have any guilt for bringing the village into a war, we know Gen was right there. He did. And this definitely relieved that. These 2 episodes, finishing up with everything with the cell phone and getting things taken care of with the village, getting them ready and everything. It's a really strong conclusion. Again, without having to actually focus on battle or anything like that. It's focused on the science, which is the main core of this series. And I think that was the right way to handle it. Even if it's very different than what other shows would normally do, it makes this series stand out and focuses on the main theme of the show. That science is fucking awesome. Even if you don't understand it all, science is amazing. And it's something that it brings people together. It gives us amazing advancements that help save lives and improve lives and even just give us entertainment. And we should never take it for granted. So, yeah, it's a really strong finale that highlights the themes and messages of Dr. Stone excellently. And it's all leading into the Stone Wars next season. Now, the record idea, the message, and the fact that Senku, these thousands of years later, in a world that, you know, normally doesn't have this kind of technology and shit, the fact that he gets to hear his father's voice, and everybody there gets to hear the voice of the founder of Ishigami Village, and on top of that, here's Lillian singing. It's like, that's a big deal. That's huge. Not only just introducing this kind of technology into this stone world, but also showcasing just how intensely emotional a simple voice can be. How powerful and beautiful a voice can be. Something that's not technological or scientific, just a person's voice. Something that comes from all of us, that we all take for granted. And that's awesome. And we finally, after most of the season of not seeing them, finally get to see Taiju and Yuzuriha again, like actually seeing them this time. And we get a little glimpse at what's to come. They trust and believe in Senku to this day. Even almost a year later, they're ready to do whatever the plan might be. But they are being watched, and so that's going to cause some problems. But I'm sure Senku has accounted for that. So he's got to know that Tsukasa. I don't know why his name escaped me for a second there. Senku would absolutely know that Tsukasa would be suspicious enough to have them be watched and, you know, not really spied on, but you know what I mean. To be monitored. That's a great word for it. And so I think Senku's going to take that into account here. I don't know how, but Senku's obviously a literal genius. He'll think of something. But we also know that they're being watched, and Senku knows this as well. They're being watched by the one girl, the pink-haired girl. So it's like, where is this going to go now? This is going to be really interesting how this war goes down. But that's going to be for next time. And just as a reminder, we are taking a break in between seasons. If you're new to the channel and don't understand how we do this, we take breaks in between seasons in order to refresh ourselves, to keep from burning out. Because if I tried to watch this entire series just completely straight back-to-back, non-stop, I would burn out really easily. And I would lose interest in the series if that happened. So I take breaks in between seasons. Usually I take breaks in the middle of seasons too, especially for a double core series like this. But I just got so invested in this series that just never ended up happening. So we will be taking a break. We will come back to Season 2 Stone Wars in the future. I don't know exactly when, but at some point in the future, hopefully not too far away, we will come back to it. In the meantime, you may be wondering, what is replacing this? I mentioned last week I was going to say at the end of this, obviously, what would replace this for when we come back from the spring break next week. Well, I've thought about it, and I think that we should probably get back to Jormungand. We took a little break from that, and I think it's about time we get back to it for the second half of the season. There's a second season of Jormungand as well, but we're just going to be finishing out season 1 of that next. So, starting next Tuesday the 9th, we will be starting back with Jormungand with episode 7. And that will be replacing Dr. Stone. But as you know, there's going to be a number of changes next week. The other one is the other Tuesday show. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Season 2, I am going to be taking a break from. and we are going to be doing a replacement show for that. But I'm not telling you what that is. Just like I said at the end of the reaction for the last Moon Girl episode, that's going to be a secret for the moment. And basically, once I put up the new channel banner, the updated channel banner, that will reveal what it is. And that I will do probably sometime this week. Because that's not a recording. That doesn't take much effort. I'll probably do that sometime this week. Just update the channel banner. That will reveal what is replacing Moon Girl. You'll see Jormungand on there to replace Dr. Stone. Baymax will be on there to replace Tangled, and so on and so forth. So yeah, all the new changes, the new schedule will be on the new channel banner, appearing sometime this week, probably tomorrow, but I'm not gonna promise necessarily. Just depends on when I end up getting to it. But yeah, so Dr. Stone season 1 ends off really well, and I am excited to get to season 2. But again, we are going to take a break just for my own sanity, for my own sake of avoiding burnout. We are going to take a little bit of a break here. But I hope you enjoyed the ride for these reactions. We'll get to plenty more in the future. This show really impressed me. It surprised me by how good it is. It got me super invested super easily. And I just adore so many of these characters now. Like, that's a big thing for me with a lot of shows. Like, you really need to make me fall in love with the characters. Because if you do, that is almost a guarantee that I'm going to be invested in the show going forward. Like, there's other factors, of course. Like, there's plenty of shows out there where it's like, oh, I like a lot of these characters, but I don't like the story, or there's certain other aspects that bother me. But if I like the characters, that's at least a really good starting point, because I will connect a lot easier with the show that way. And there's a lot of characters I love in this. Senku, Taiju, Yuzuriha, Chrome, Suika, of course. Kiseki's great. Gen is fantastic. It's like there's so many. Kohaku and Ruri. Obviously, Tsukasa. His name has been escaping me a couple times now. What the hell? Now, one thing I want to add at the end here, right before we finish this off. For this season, I've been saying that Tsukasa was my favorite character and everything, because I love how he's not a bad person, but is doing bad things for the sake of what he views as a noble goal. So the question is, now that the season has ended, is he still my favorite character? And the answer is surprisingly no. And I feel like that might be a surprise to some people, might not to others, but for me, it's kind of a surprise, but I know the reason why at the same time. It's because for a good amount of the season, he's been absent. Like, he's shown up more than, Taiju and Yuzuriha, but for most of the season, he's not a, active force in the season. Most of the time we're focusing on like every other character, and he just occasionally reappears. Like, obviously he's going to be big going into the next season, but he hasn't been like a main character since the beginning of the series. Most of this season he's been reduced to a looming threat. And don't get me wrong, I still love his character, but a lot of these other characters that have come in, specifically during this time at Ishigami Village, have won me over just in ways that have just taken top spots away from him. I love Suika a lot. She's adorable, she's funny, she has just a wonderfully absurd but great design with the watermelon rind. Gen is fantastic. He's hilarious, but good-hearted. He's a trickster, but using it for, good reasons and everything. Kohaku is great. I love, like, strong, capable female characters. There's just so many to really love, but who is my new number one? Who is my current favorite? I mean, honestly, I have to say Suika. And that might not be a surprise to anyone because it's like, oh, of course you like Suika. You love cute characters. And it's like, yeah, I do. It's really not like that surprising, but it's just like it's beyond just her cuteness. It's also her character. Like she's so innocent, so naive, so inexperienced with a lot of, well, anything, even compared to the other villagers. Yet at the same time, she's helpful, she's strong-willed, she's smart, she's kind, she's loving. She really just, for me, captures all of these traits that I love in a character. And you could say, yeah, that's easier to do with a character who's a child who, is very naive and doesn't know a lot about the world and everything. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct on that. It's easier to do that with a child than an adult character who has, more shit going on in their lives and all, usually in a lot of shows. But the difference here is that Suika has grown up in this stone world, a world that is actively dangerous in so many different ways. And yet, she showcases her bravery on a number of occasions. Like when she rolled to lead the enemies and everything into that poison gas. Like, come on. That was badass. That was so brave and awesome of her. Also, maybe a little twisted, but still. And then she has just like these amazing moments in this season as well. Like when she gets her glasses and sees the sunflowers for the first time and starts crying. It's just like, that got to me. And it still gets to me, even thinking about it. It's such a beautiful moment. And again, even in just these episodes where she's like offering to help with the other kids, it's like, we want to help too. We want to be useful too. You have something we can do, right? And without missing a beat, Senku's like, yeah, of course. You're just as valuable as anyone. He recognizes that though they're kids, they're just as important. And I think a lot of people do tend to, I guess you could say, look down on child characters more so than a lot of adult characters because, a lot of viewers tend to be teens or adults. So it's like, oh, this is just a silly kid and everything. But it's like, this series it basically says that kids are just as important. And it's just like, I love it. And so Suika's my number one right now. If I were to say like a top five, Suika would be number one. Gen is number two. Number three, I have to say Senku. Senku is number three. Number four is Tsukasa. And number five, probably Chrome. I would say. Kohaku, I think, is number six. So top six. There, you have a top six. Kohaku just barely misses out on the top five, I think. I feel like we need to see more of her in action, and I think we're going to get a lot of that in season 2. And even characters I didn't mention, I do still really love. So don't think just if I didn't mention a character in that top 6, that doesn't mean I don't like them. But yeah, so that is going to be it for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said, this is being replaced. We are bringing Jormungand back. That will start next week. And just as a reminder, we are going on spring break for the entire rest of this week. So if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to put down in the comments, please feel free. I look at all the comments, I will read it, and if necessary, will respond. So thank you all so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.